Hello, this is just a quick review for Dreams on the PS4 by Media Molecule. Um, they're the people who made Little Big Planet, so if you've ever played that, then it's the same company, which shows when you actually play the game. It basically, if you've played Little Big Planet, it's like that, but on steroids. Um, it's just a lot more in depth. It's basically a game, like a game developer's creation suite, and you get all the tools to use yourself to create. I mean, basically, you can play the story. There's a story mode on this, which is basically just like a short kind of movie, but it's an interactive playthrough, and it just showcases everything that's available for you to do on the game because the developers actually used all of the in-house tools that you've got access to create the story mode in order to showcase what you can do with the game. So if you're a creative person, then you'll absolutely love it. Um, just that screen before you get, it's a bit daunting at first because you get a lot of options, a lot of things to do. It's like tutorials are plenty. You can surf the community creations, is what I was doing here, and you can just find other people's games and other people's creations, whether it's a showcase, which is basically like a painting or a picture, um, where you can zoom in and have a look around. Those can also be animated as well. You can have like a, a scene or dream. Um, like a scene is like this, where you're making a landscape and you're creating the scene, and then you actually put an object inside it, like a car or a person or whatever, um, and then you connect all of those together and you put them inside a dream, which is like a collection of these little scenes and stuff that you've made. It's hard to explain. Like I says, when you first put it on, it's very daunting. It's like, fucking hell, there's so much to do. I don't know what to do first. Me personally, I haven't played Little Big Planet for such a long time. I mean, like since number three was out, so it's been good 2 or 3 years. Um, and I thought, oh, great, Dreams. I seen it when it first came out. I thought I'll wait for it to come down in price. It's actually on the PlayStation Store for £17.50, reduced from 35 or something. It's got like a 70% discount or something like that, or 50% discount. And so I think it's only available until the 25th of February. So I would just try and get it. You've got until tomorrow, basically. But I would just basically get it because it's such a huge game. It's absolutely gigantic. Like, you could literally just lock yourself away in a room for like a year and you could still never get bored of, like, or still never actually get to do everything. Like, these games you're watching now, these are other people's creations. These aren't games that the developers have made. These are homemade projects, and these are just a sample of what you can do. I mean, this isn't showcasing the graphics because this guy has designed this game with the 16-bit graphics or 8-bit graphics, whatever these are. And like, he's designed everything about this, so it's up to you the style of game that you want. Like, before, you've seen a 3D rock crawler game, which is what I'm interested in. There's this, like a 2D platform game from like a retro kind of style, which is cool. But it doesn't have to be a shooter. I mean, it could be absolutely anything you can think of. Like, if you look at these are the showcases, and like, this is just an example of what I was talking about. There's so much creations because the game actually came out in, I think it was 2018 or 2019, so it's been out a while. So there's shitloads of community stuff for you to just get inspiration if you want to just browse and have a little look and see what other people have done and the kind of stuff that's actually available. That's one thing. Just a side note, I hate the way the camera like moves. It's very it goes against my intuition because I'm so used to using the camera in a different way. This one just takes a bit used to getting used to. But look, this guy, whoever this is, that do chat not. He's made this from scratch. All the textures, he's done it in clay, so it looks like it's been made of clay. But he's had to sculpt that beard himself. He's had to make the eyes, the hat, the shoes, everything you see there. He's made from scratch in a Little Big Planet style creation, where you just more like you use like a brown cube of stuff, and you can press and hold, and it drags it into a long snake, and you can just basically you've got every single creation tool that you had on Little Big Planet plus a lot more. Like I said, it's a game developer's creation suite, so you've got the freedom and everything to do basically anything you can think of. There's first person shooters, there's racing games, platform games, puzzle games. You can, that marble game where, real physics games, that kind of thing. It's just the possibilities for it are basically endless. I mean, they've really, really went above and beyond the expectations of what a computer game can do, because you basically, like I said, you're getting let loose on anything you want. It's like, instead of like making a game for you, they've just said, here's the creation tools, you make your own game and then post them online and we all share and play together. And then they have like a community jam where every month they'll give you like a topic, like say Halloween or Christmas, or they'll say the mirror universe, because there's an option where you can have things mirrored. Like if you're making an eyeball, you can just make one eyeball and then it'll mirror and make two for you exactly, and when you're placing them, it'll have it exactly where you need it, kind of thing. So they've said like mirror universe, so everybody who's got this game can chime in and make their own creation, and like enter it into competition basically, and then it's a showcase at the end of everybody who's made stuff. Just stuff like this. I mean, if they said, right, the theme this week is Africa, and then you could just make something like this, submit it, and then you never know, you might actually win, and you win a load of prizes. I don't know if you win real world prizes, but you do actually win like stuff within the game, and it's free to enter. Obviously, you can just create stuff whenever you want, but like I said, this has been created from scratch. The hair, the light, the shine in the animal's eyes, just everything has been made from literally molding squares and circles and triangles, and you just put the texture on, you change it a different color, you put the hair on, and it's so interesting if you're a creative person to be let loose playing this. So there's one thing I do, like I said, the one thing I don't like is when you're trying to create something, the camera is such a fuck on. It's not very intuitive. You basically have to hold in a button in order to strafe left and right and forward and backwards, and then you leave go of the button, and then you can look around and move up and down. But when you're trying to just do things quite quickly, it gets a bit confusing, and you're trying to place an object, say a tree or something, and your camera's not doing what you want it to do. It's just, honestly, it's so frustrating sometimes, but that's really the only gripe I've got with it so far. I mean, I've looked at a lot of, I've looked through a lot of stuff and I've had a time to play on it, but it's the camera. I still seem to struggle a bit with the camera. Only had it a few days, so it'll come with time, but I'm just seeing my first impressions, like all my videos and my first impressions, and it's just the camera's a bit fiddly. But apart from that, I'm really impressed. Like, this is just a photo style, painting style picture that somebody's made from scratch. They've made that tiger from scratch, the bamboo. Everything you see on that screen is somebody's just painting, which is really good, because it means that you get to see all these creative people, and obviously the game's worldwide. It's not just stuck to the UK or the USA or wherever. It's like everybody from France, Italy, Spain, everywhere are making creations and doing them. So that's really interesting. This is, again, like I was saying at the beginning, the tutorials, and it's learning you how to create stuff, and I'm learning how to make a platform. But basically what's good about it is that you can hold the platform, and then you, with your analog stick, you draw the line, like, because it just records your movement. So you just basically record the platform going from one side to the other, and then after you leave go, you save it, whatever, you press play, and then it'll show you. There, see that dotted line? It shows you which way you went with your analog stick. And this lesson in particular was telling us how to clone it. Save us having to do the whole process again. I can just get this from that side because it's already got that logic built into it where it's going from one side to the other on a diagonal. So now I just copy it, flip it around so it's facing the other way, and then look, now I've left go, it's doing the exact opposite. Little things like that which will save you a lot of time when you're creating levels. But this is a very simple side-scrolling platform kind of game. This is like really bare basic stuff. You can make first-person shooters, and it even supports VR. That's how good this game is. You can make your own virtual reality levels. And you get given that little blue cursor, it's called your imp. And see how it says R2 and you can possess. So when you actually make a level, you can have any avatar. So it's a cone at the moment, just as a, like as an example, you've got a cone. But you can sculpt and design any person. I've seen Mario, Sonic, Lara Croft. I've seen Rick and Morty. I've seen fucking anyone you can think of, Homer Simpson. People have took the time to create these amazing avatars, which you can just download from the community and just use yourself. This second part of, like, the way that when the little cone guy jumped on top of that thing that was walking around, we were controlling that thing and recording it the same way we recorded the platform before. This is another tutorial I was doing, and it's learning you about how to make buttons like do things. So when you press that button down, it lifts up the drawbridge, and also there's a timer. So once you press the button, after 5 seconds, the drawbridge like falls down again. Stuff like that. You just got to learn from the beginning, and it teaches you how to use the circuit boards, and it's basically like Little Big Planet where you just drag and drop and it makes a wire connecting to each part of the circuit board and all that kind of shit. So honestly, it seems very complicated because I was blown away at first because I had played Little Big Planet, so I thought I knew I would go into the game knowing quite a bit, and it turns out I know fuck all. So you have to go in. I would employ you to do the tutorials because otherwise you're going to struggle, or you'll spend your whole time surfing like the community creations. I mean, there's so much there, you could be there forever. But it's like, it's better if you're a creative person. Like I said, you got to be quite creative yourself. But you can create your own levels and do like a kind of a Wipeout style level, or some sort of, like a racing game, or a first person shooter, or anything. You could be a boiled egg, and you've got to just, the whole aim of the game is to jump inside, the pan of boiling water or something. Like, it's totally up to you. You can go, there's no limits on what you can do with this game. That's the genius of this. And like I say, hats off to Media Molecule, because they've really, really done a thing that not many people have done, where they've give you ultimate like freedom just to make your own game. I know other games have had creation tools, and like you've got your wrestling and your creation suites and stuff like that, creating moves and creating emojis and emotes and stuff like that. That's not new, but the fact you're given the bare bones and the foundations to build your own game with no limitations, I mean, come on, that's really good. And it's only 17 quid at the moment, so I would even say it's worth full price, and I don't really say that about many games, but it's definitely worth full price. And it's it's one of those games where you can just lose yourself for hours and hours. Like I says, I've played it for about 20 hours so far, and I haven't even got round to making anything. All I've been doing is the tutorials and exploring what's already been made on the community to like give yourself inspiration. I don't want to say the kind of stuff I'm planning on making because somebody might nick my idea, so I'm gonna just like keep them to myself. But to get to the point where I've actually published something, it'll be months and months away. But just a quick note, something that does piss us off also, when you're doing the tutorials, as a part of the tutorial, it forces you to publish something online and then comment on another person's creation and that kind of stuff. So I was nowhere near ready to publish anything, but it gives you like a template level, and you're meant to add to it or subtract from it and make it your own. And after hours and hours, then publish it online. But I wanted to just crack on with the tutorials, so it's making us post these bullshit like levels that aren't mine. Well, they're mine, but I don't want them on my page. But if I delete them off, then you tend to lose the ticks on your tutorial page. So it's very annoying in that respect. But apart from that, it's good. You've got to just have patience, and you've got to be willing to learn. Because if you don't, I mean, there's obviously no point. You can go on surfing the creations, of course, still. Um, but like I said, there's so much you can do. It'll literally take you forever to like do everything. I mean, it's impossible. But this is what I was talking about. Look, see how it says my creations, and then like that template level, my ancient temple, that's the template level that they give you, and it's basically A to B. It looks pretty. It's just to give you an idea, but then they let you have the creation tool open within that demo level, so you can then delete stuff, add stuff, change the way that avatar looks. You can do anything you want to it, and then they want you to like make it your own and print it on your profile and publish it online. But when you're not really at that space, I mean, I literally had the game a couple of hours and already they're saying, oh, post this online and do this and do that, and it's like, well, I'm not ready to post anything online. I don't want those bullshit fucking levels on my profile. Like, I want my profile blank. The first level on my profile is going to be the one I've spent hours and hours making to perfection, because there's no point in publishing it, because you can't unpublish it. I don't think you can anyway. So that means that, you know, your profile's going to be full of tutorial bullshit. I don't know. I'm going to have a look into it and see if I can delete stuff. But then you do like a tutorial like this where it's called the Welcome Home tutorial, Welcome Home pack or something. And you get given this level to try yourself. First of all, you've got to possess that little chicken thing. See how it's timing you? So you collect all the little prizes. I missed that one on the table, but you collect all those prizes, and then you get to the end, and then it just says, all right, great. Next step, what you have to do is go back to this level, and you have to create it yourself. You know, like add it and like do things to it yourself, make it your own, and then publish it online. So that tasking alone would take forever, because this is already a sort of level. I mean, it would take you forever to recreate this and give it a totally new look and a new design, and especially when you've only been playing the game for a couple of hours, like you haven't got the skills to I was trying to collect that, but it's just telling us that it's ticked off. But stuff like that where it's telling you to like publish stuff online when you're not at that level to be publishing stuff. But and then people will say, well, just don't do that tutorial. But then how are you gonna get to know the game if you can't do the tutorials? I don't know, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, or just maybe I don't understand it. But to me, as a first person impressions, it just pissed us off. You know, it's not very user friendly in that sense, where it just forces you to do something you're not ready to do. You're not at that creation level yet, and it's telling you to publish stuff online, and it's like, well, I'm not ready, you know. So that fucked us off a bit. But like I said, see how this avatar is like a little chicken. You can have any kind of game you want. You create it and then you make it. It's the same as those purple spiked things with electricity. Like, you just make the purple square, stick the spikes on with cones, and then you give it electricity, you give it a hit point value, so when it hits you, it takes stuff off, or it kills you instantly. It's up to you. You know, and you've got to program it to go from left or right or wherever it's going. So it's basically a game developing game. You know, it lets you develop your own computer game, which is amazing. So I think if you like it, definitely go and get it. You've got until the 25th, and it's only 17 quid. So that's it. See you there.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.